Good evening. It is Wednesday, March 7th, 9 p.m. People, I don't know where you live, but if you live in the Northeast in the United States, you're getting battered with another nor'easter. We had one last week. I drove home on Friday night. I was hoping to get home and do a video. It ended up taking me about 7 hours to get home. And we're getting hit hard again. And we live in challenging times, people. And I think this is very symbolic, emblematic, because spring is so close, and yet winter refuses to let go. And it's rough out there, and these markets are very rough. And I was reminded of that song when I was a kid, the movie The Poseidon Adventure. There was that song, we got to hold, there's always tomorrow if we can hold on to tonight, right? There's got to be a morning after if we can hold on through the night. And that's what it's like. And I looked at that movie again, and I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but the boat capsized, right? Due to a storm, right? And most of the passengers, they were looking for an exit door, and they were going the wrong way. And there was a small group of passengers led by one man, and they didn't believe him the whole way. They didn't really trust this guy, about 6, 7, or 8 of them. But he knew the way out, and turned out everybody else was wrong, and he was right, and he died. He ended up dying, but he rescued a handful of people. And you know what? I think that's very emblematic too, and symbolic with what's going on in these markets right now. Because if people are going to continue to go to the US dollar for a safe haven, I really think they're going the wrong way. Okay? And if they want to throw gold out, okay, they're making a huge mistake. So the other day, gold had a big move up 2 days ago, right? It hit that 13.4. I think it actually got to 13.41. They knocked it back down again. It had a rough day today. All right. Right now it's 13.26. It's up about $1.40 in the after hours. Silver is like 16.42. Silver does nothing. Silver has not done anything in weeks. It just doesn't move because we know it's manipulated. Has JP Morgan cornered the silver market? I have to ask that question. They accused the Hunt brothers of cornering the silver market, right? And what did they do to the Hunt brothers, right? But change the rules, okay? But I guess it's okay for JP Morgan. Now everything today has to do with these tariffs, all right? Tariffs. Are they on? Are they off? Who gets exempted? Who doesn't? The latest news is perhaps Mexico and Canada will have an exemption. But it changes from one day to the next. Okay? So we don't know what to expect. I think this is all part of the playbook from The Art of the Deal. And I've recommended several books, you know, during these videos. I think one of the books we have to read is The Art of the Deal. So we know what's going on. Okay? So last night, I was looking at the Dow. The futures were down at one point about 450 points, okay, on the news that this Gary Cohn had resigned, okay, supposedly because a dispute over these tariffs. And then today, when the White House announced that there might be exemptions, stocks almost came back. But you know what? I'm looking at stocks, and there was a time when everything every news item, okay, every blurb that the Fed, came out with. It was just an excuse to rally. And now it looks like everything is starting to be an excuse to go down. I sold my stocks. I say this top is in. And so far, okay, that seems to be correct. Gold still having some problems breaking through this 1340 level, my key level. Overall, it looks like it wants to break out, but they're holding it down. So, US dollar hasn't done much of anything. It's quite frankly, it's been quiet. It's got an 89 handle. I think it's 89.65. It gained a little against the euro. It gained a little against the yen. The VIX has been coming down. Okay, there's still no fear in these markets. All right. So I have some articles I want to get to because, as we all know, next week, March 20th, begins the FOMC meeting. Okay. And what's the Fed's playbook, right? They go out before the meeting. They all go out. They go all around the country and the globe on the taxpayers' dime, all right? And they give all these speeches to give the impression that they have this intelligent debate going on. And some people are for and some people are against. It's nonsense. They know what they have to do. They only have one option. They've backed themselves into the corner, okay? They know a recession is coming and they know they have to have a cushion so they can lower rates. So who are they kidding? There's no intellectual debate going on here. They're trying to calibrate an economy from a junior year textbook, okay? So, as usual, they come out and they give their little speeches. So the first one to come out was this Lal Brainard. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Lal Brainard. Fed's Brainard says economic tailwinds could push up the path of interest rates. Tailwinds. Federal Reserve Governor Lal Brainard, the sole remaining member of the board who was appointed by President Barack Obama on Tuesday, yesterday, said that a higher path of interest rates could become warranted if a variety of economic tailwinds give the economy forward thrust. What are these tailwinds she's talking about? We're about to embark on trade wars. Interest rates are rising. The dollar is ready to go down, okay? What are these tailwinds she's talking about? The Atlanta Fed started out with a first quarter GDP estimate of 5.4, okay? On March 1st, just last week, it was 3.5. Today, they announced their new weekly update. It's down to 2.8. From 1 week to the next, it goes from 3.5 to 2.8. You talk about broken models. Who are they kidding? So what tailwind is this woman looking at? I'd like to know. It's all nonsense. In the earlier period, strong headwinds sapped the momentum of the recovery and weighed down the path of policy. Today, with headwinds shifting to tailwinds, the reverse could hold true, Brainard said in a speech to the money marketeers of New York University. All right, so I guess she went to NYU, got a little trip to NYU out of it. Continued gradual, and there it is, continued gradual increases, okay? That's the script. You might as well put a dead fish and a tape recorder up there, and it'll be the same thing. Gradual increases, blah, 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 blah. Continued gradual increases in the federal funds rate are likely to remain appropriate, Brainard said, but the Fed needs to be flexible. There it is again. There needs to be flexible. What do you think we do here all day? You can't hit a moving target. Boy, these people, boy, I'm telling you, it's nice work if you could get it. It's nice work if you could get it. Brainyard said there is a growing confidence that the Fed will achieve its inflation target, this 2% inflation target that they can't seem to hit. Indeed, the U.S. could see a mild temporary overshoot. They can't even hit it. She's saying they might have an overshoot of the medium term, she said. Of course, we should be ready to adjust the path of policy in either direction if developments turn out differently than expected. Oh, what a crime this is. This is wicked, this is sinister, and these people should be kicked to the curb for their complete incompetence. I don't even want to bother with the rest of her nonsense. So then, the Fed's Kaplan, he comes out. Okay? These are the usual suspects. These are the usual suspects. Now, this is the guy who believes that, you know, jobs could overheat, right? And then they got to start tightening. Fed's Kaplan, rate hikes are necessary as the U.S. nears full employment. Dallas Fed President Robert Kaplan says he favors 3 rate hikes this year, a sentiment reflected in markets. In Kaplan's view, consistent hikes are necessary with the unemployment rate at 4.1%, which he and other Fed officials consider to be right around full employment. Okay? So there you go. All right? Once they hit full employment, okay, then you got to back up. All right? Raising interest rates now gives the U.S. the best chance to keep pushing the economy forward. How does raising interest rates now give the U.S. the best chance to keep pushing the economy forward? Does this make any sense to anybody? The whole point of them raising the rate, okay, is 2 reasons. They want to have a cushion when the recession comes because they can't be constrained by this lower bound, okay? And they continue to believe in this nonsense Philip curve with this wage growth, and it's not even out there, is the cause of inflation. No, it's not them with all the rounds of QE. No, that's not what causes inflation, okay? This monetary madness. It's the fact that people are finally starting to get some jobs, okay? And the side hustle that they got to do. And once that happened, he wants to slam on the brakes, this guy. His job should be the first to go. In that light, Kaplan said he favors 3 rate hikes this year, a sentiment reflected in markets that nevertheless have been wary that the central bank may get more aggressive should the improving economy start generating more noticeable inflation. It's 3 for this year. I think we should get started sooner rather than later, though, he said during an interview on CNBC's Squawk Box. All right, so that's Kaplan. I want to shift gears a little. Larry Kudlow, you know Kudlow, growth, right? Which is debt, okay? He urged Cohn to stay because Cohn and Mnuchin are the twin pillars of Trump's economic team. Let me tell you something, people. If Cohn and Mnuchin are the twin pillars of Trump's economic team, okay, this whole house of cards is going to come crashing down, okay? They're both Goldman Sachs alumni, okay? Cohn was in charge during the credit crisis. He walked out with about a $280 million severance package to go work at the administration, okay? Now he knows that tariff wars are coming, and he wants to get out of Dodge, okay? Because he knows it's all coming down. And Mnuchin, okay, he likes to use government aircrafts to go look at solar eclipses, right? With his trophy wife. They're the twin pillars. Top White House economic advisor Gary Cohn and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin are the two pillars of Trump's fiscal team, long-term economist Larry Kudlow told CNBC on Tuesday. Kudlow, a confidant of President Donald Trump, spoke as stocks were falling, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average down more than 100 points after a Bloomberg report said Trump is convinced Cohn will leave the administration if he follows through on his steel and aluminum tariffs. Personally, I have urged Gary Cohn to stay. I spoke to him this week and I said, please stay, said Kudlow, currently a CNBC senior contributor who served in the Reagan administration. These are the twin pillars. Okay, two Goldman Sachs alumni. I thought President Trump wanted to drain the swamp. He's knee deep in the swamp with these guys. So that's about it, people. Gotta watch. Gotta stay nimble. Every day it's one day to the next. So are they on? Are they off? But we'll see. Gold looks like it wants to break out, but they're keeping the lead on it. So anyway, that's about it, people. If you're in the Northeast, take care of yourselves. Be careful. And again, I think this is just emblematic of the times we live in. So that's about it, people. Have a good night. Ciao.